Hi Pep, I know it's really tense, the title running now, sort of, you can't afford to lose, as you say, but are you actually delighted that it's now back in your hands, that if you win all your games, this is the sort of situation you'd actually would ask for? Is that fair?
Definitely it's better.
And can you and the players enjoy that, or is it just not?
No,
really
it's much better.
But can you actually enjoy it, or is it?
Absolutely. I would love to be, I said many times, I would love to be in the position from Arsenal in the Premier League right now. I don't know what's going to happen in 1 week, and especially when 9 games left in Brighton. But in the same time, I'm delighted to be in the position we are in the season, the 3 competitions being there. So, I don't think much about nothing else than Leicester. And I don't care the titles or no titles. So arrive at 6-7 weeks before the end of the season, being there all the time and in the feeling, the moment, the teams defending well, attacking quite decent, and many things, and that is good.
So do you need to actually tell them anything about Leicester tomorrow? Are they tuned in to what they need to do?
I will remember a few things, but they know it, I'm pretty sure. They have, we play Tuesday? Tuesday.
Wednesday. We did play on Tuesday?
Yeah, we play Tuesday, we train Wednesday morning, so Wednesday afternoon, Thursday and Friday morning off. So they have 2 days off to clean their minds, and now we're going to prepare Leicester to know exactly, because I had the feeling that the many results I have so fresh, Southampton at the bottom of the league. We scored the first goal 45 minutes, an excellent assist from Kevin, and Erling was there, and we suffered a lot. And I had the feeling that in this league, if you are not there, you are going to drop points. It doesn't matter the opponent, but every team is playing for something. The best is when you play against opponent, then it doesn't matter what happened. They don't fight for being relegated, no play for Europa League, don't play to get Champions League. It's almost they're on holiday. They are thinking that is the best opponent you can face in the last. But I don't have that feeling. For many teams are involved. The relegation zone, how many teams are involved. Europa League, there are many teams can play. Champions League, you cannot imagine. So that's why if you want to be still there until the end, you have to perform well. Otherwise, it will be more difficult.
What are Hans guys were mindful of that when you're asking for?
Hi Pep. You said after the Bayern game you were exhausted. How much energy do you and the players get back from the form that you're in and the results that you're picking up every few days?
Well, physically, was so demanding. I was excited because the first time we could not help the team to be more effective in our pressing. They were able to contact Gnabry, Musiala all the time. A lot of actions like Leroy in command was, were there 1-against-1 in the final third. When arrived there, it's a dangerous position, and we could not, be more effective with that. And we know the quality. Every time we lose the ball, the transition were really difficult. We didn't create much, and that made me feel exhausting more than the result, because I know the game will be dictated in Munich, whatever result, and that's why it happened with this kind of men. Are so demanding. Imagine the players, because they have to stress with this, but stress with the legs, and per both sides.
Would you rather be playing every 3 days until the end of the season, or
no, 4 days? 3 days I don't like. 4 days is okay. Yeah, I would love. Yeah, we were saying.
Today,
Hi, Pep. Famously, obviously, City won the league in 2012 with the last kick of the game on goal difference from Manchester United. Given how tight it is this season, there's a distinct possibility it could come down to that again.
Yeah, could.
With that in mind, if you're winning games, I know your team rarely let up, but will you be encouraging them to keep going, score more, because that could ultimately be the difference?
Yeah, I didn't. We didn't talk about that. I think they know it. I never prepare a game to as much goals as possible, because the first target is win the game. But when the game is in your hand and the dynamic and momentum is good, it's better don't stop, because that's true, the distance is so short, and everything can happen.
So you'll be encouraging them to keep going, even if the game is 2 or 3-0, score more?
I didn't speak to them about that. But maybe one day we will comment. Maybe I think they know it.
Hi Pep, just on the defence, the other night they were really impressive. Everyone came away saying just how good they were in the duels and the one-on-ones. But in the past, you've said this team defends by having the ball, and that wasn't the case. The other night, Bayern had most of the possession. I just wondered, are you now more confident in the way that this team defends when they don't have the ball, when they do the kind of more old-fashioned standing pressure kind of defending?
In this competition, Champions League, always there are moments that you have to defend 1 against 1 in the final third really, really, really well and win that duel. And don't be anxious, don't be nervous it's going to happen. And that depends of the mentally approach that as a defender we have. I would have loved to have a much more minute of possession, because always I believe when as much you have the ball, less actions the opponent we have. But what I said before, when you play in these stages against that teams, it's impossible. Don't think or don't pretend that they will have ball or they will have. So it's a team in Germany than 38 games, that 38, they have more possession, they have more chances, they have more opportunities than the opponent. That means it's going to win or lose. No, they drop points this season by Munich, but they have more than the other ones. It's a team built for that, for the history, for the shirt, for many, many things. So that's why I knew it. We're going to try to do it better in the second leg in few days.
When Joao Cancelo came on Tuesday, there was quite a strong negative reaction from the fans. I appreciate he's an opposition player, but he's still under contract here. Could you understand that reaction? Were you a little bit surprised? Because sometimes players come back and they get great receptions. Obviously, that wasn't the case with Joao on Tuesday.
Joao has always been so appreciated here. It happened maybe because he was an opponent in that situation. I'm not in that, but I'm sure that they appreciate it a lot. So Joao has been, and maybe will be, but has been so important player for us. So we cannot forget the league, Premier Leagues in the previous seasons, how important player was, and the quality is undeniable.
Pep, can I just ask you a question on Rodri? You know what it's like to play in that position, how demanding it is physically and psychologically. You always see all the players around you in front and in back. How impressed have you been with his levels that he's managed to maintain this sort of high level of
huge
quality?
Personality, huge competitor. Every 3 days, every training session, it's never rest, and incredible sign for us. And the thing I had the margin, I have to space to his development as a football player to read better some situations, but he solved it with his incredible mentality. So important.
And he's played more than 4,000 minutes this season for club and country. Is that because of his mentality, or is it because how he looks after himself off the pitch?
It's so important now. He gives us a lot of things. He's many years with us, and he understands perfectly what we need. He's quick in the head. He's reading much better. In these balls, transitions always win the duels, and this kind of uncertain balls that in these top levels always happen. If you win the ball, you have a chance, and we lose the ball, it's a chance for them, and he has ability and sense and smell to win it. But I still had the feeling that he can improve.
Bit short of time, guys, just because of
Pep, sorry if you've been asked this already this season, but just the system that you brought in this season, what prompted that change, or was it an idea you had coming into the season? It's obviously been very successful for you.
Well, it's quite similar, the principles. So we don't want to defend deeper. We have to do it. What happened in Bayern, because they were better, they were not effective. So the principle to go high, to take the ball always was there since day one. Our build up always the one. The different ways depend the quality of the players that we have. Always to try to put a lot of players in the middle, to be possible to do it. And football is not, from my point of view, is not a close. I would say it's like this. It always will be like this, because the players are different. The opponents knows you. To play the buyer play in this game is completely different that we face every single day. So we have to adapt in some movements, and maybe it's going to be different next Wednesday, and you have to adapt. So like tomorrow, I don't know Dean Smith and his team how it's going to play. So that's why it's not, I'm like this. Always is I'm going to play in this pattern. Now we move something. It depends on how you play as the opponent. And this is funny Because otherwise it would be so boring.
So, although your principles are always the same, those little changes and the evolution, do you think it's important to keep your opponent second guessing, and you as a team hard to predict? And you're constantly evolving.
No,
the team.
I'm pretty sure that the opponents, when they look us, they know exactly what they're going to do. So the last, I would say, 2 months, maybe it's the period since we are here, I changed less our way to try to make our game. So I think with our opponents before us see our games now in white angles and see what we want to do, it's happened. So that is easy to analyze. So before we change false nine more, or now with Gabriel and Julian, we cannot do it because they don't have this quality to do it. So we cannot play with false nine because I have specific quality to be in the box. Of course, Julian have more movements behind the striker than Erling, but that's why you have to adapt as well the quality that they have. But the main principles, I think the players will admit it, is completely the same for the day one until today.
Just got time for one last one here, guys.
Seeing that Erling has only missed 4 club games this season compared to 16 last season, how would you describe his overall fitness now compared to when he came from Germany, and what have you done to get him there?
I don't know what they have done. He has done in Dortmund, but here we take care of him 24 hours. We have incredible physios, incredible doctors behind him, every single detail. So it's always in the clubs we spoke about that. It's difficult for me to understand when you spend a lot of money with the players and how you leave them do. I don't know what the other clubs do. I talk myself from my experience in the past. So today, with this demanding schedule every 3-4 days, behind the players you have to be incredible entourage to take care of them. It's so demanding today, and for nutrition, the rest, the sleep, and the food, and the training. How many minutes? There are days that they cannot train more than 10-15 minutes. Otherwise, it will be a risk. The people say, why was substitute, against Leipzig when they score the goals, or how was substitute against another team that after 1 day after was injured after Burnley game, was 10 days, 15 days out, could not play with Norway, cannot play with us against Liverpool, because we know them that has to be like a watch, because it's so big, it has to be physios, massage, and backs and shoulders, and his problem in his tendons and everything. So you have to be like he works much time, but much time inside of the training center than on the pitch in the training. So much more. So and today in the modern football, normally the players train more behind the scenes than on the pitch.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.